sir. My name is Blesson and student number is 8710466, and this is the video for the project presentation. In this project, I got two tasks, task 1 and task 2. And without wasting time, let's get into the video. In the first task, you are already gave a folder with some text files, and the initial task is to read the content from these text files, and we need to create a new text file called as mergercontent.txt, and we need to paste the read content into that mergercontent.txt. um, that's the first task. And before proceeding further, I need to make sure that there is no uh, pre-created text file called as merge content. So that I'm going to the file explorer and go to the Visual Studio projects, and you can see that there is no text files named as mergecontent.txt. But after we run that program, there will be there will be one text file will be created in the name of mergecontent.txt. So without wasting time, we can look into the program. And this is the first task one. Here is the first step, like import OS. It is a module which will helps to uh, get the operating system dependent functionality. Like we need to go to the specified system path, like system directories, so that we need to have this OS module here, and we are initializing a variable named as files, and we are calling the names of the files inside the specified directory. So after performing this code, we will get the names of all the text files inside the specified path, and we will store that into a variable called files. And we are using print files here, and which means that we are printing the names of the text files in a list. And after that, we are creating a for loop, because we know that there is a number of text files. So we need to read each of these text file, and we need to create a folder, create a text file, and we need to paste that read material inside that merge content txt. So we need to perform it in a number of times, so that we used a for loop here. And we have four file names in files, so we are accessing the content inside the variable files. Okay, so after that, we are giving the path, like we are initializing a variable, and we are using the path joining method here, like it concatenate the text file path. So I'm giving the Visual Studio project and project, and after that the file names. And after that, we need to read the content, right? So in order to read the text file, um, content the open the file in a reading mode. So after that, we need to read each lines of the it when we use open file path comma r, which means that we are opening the file in the reading mode. And after that, we need to read the lines inside the text file. So for that, we are use the read lines method here. And after reading the text files, we are saving that into a variable called data. And after that, we need to create a txt file which is named as merged content.txt. And I'm not used here write, because if I use the write here, each for operation, it's a repeating operation, the content in the merged content txt file will be rewritten. In order to avoid that, I used the append here. When we use the append, it will not rewrite the content in the new text file that we created. So we are again calling a for loop, and we are writing the texts that we read from here to the new text files that we created, merge content.txt. After writing the content to the merge content.txt, we are closing the text file. That's it for the program. And now we can run the program. Yeah, due to this print function here, it printed the names of the text files inside that specific folder in a list. So it is not the actual result. We need to go to the file explorer, and go to the Visual Studio projects and need to look for the text. Yeah, we already got the text file named as the merged content, and inside that we got all the text files here. This is the first text file, and this is the second text file, and this is the third text files, and each of these text files started in a new line, so our task is achieved. Now we can look into the second project. In the second project, you ask to create a calculator with the 4 different operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And also you specify that you need to use the method, like you need to we need to define a function, and after that we need to call that function not to perform that specific task. So I created 4 different functions here, like addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. And initially we define the functions here, and after that we are asking the user, like we are showing the user what they can choose, like we are giving 4 options for them, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And for addition we use the 1, subtraction we use 2, multiplication 3, and division 4, like that. And here I am using a while loop here, and also we are using the try except method here, because this loop will continue until the user enters a valid integer, because after printing this text, the user can choose the option. But if the user not entered a valid integer, we need to continue this operation. So that I used a while loop here. So the loop will continue until the user enters a valid integer. And here I am using the try except method. In the try, we are asking the user to input an integer in the range of 1 2 3 4, and we are checking with the int. If the user is not entered an integer value, this try will be failed, and it will goes to the exception, and it will goes to this here. This is a handle exception, and it will print a message like invalid input. And if the user entered an integer value, it will comes to this if loop, and it will check 2 conditions, like if the user input is less than 5 and user input greater than 0, which means that the user need to be enter only 1 2 3 or 4. If the user inputted a value not in this range, for example, if the user entered a value like 8, it is not in this range, so it will comes to this else loop, and it will print a message like please select only in the specified range of choice. If the user inputted a value within this range, it will break the while loop, and it comes out the while loop. In the second while loop, we also need to make sure that we are asking 2 numbers, like not to perform these 4 operations, we need to have 2 numbers. So in the while loop, we are again using the try method and asking the user to enter the number, and here we are also accepting the float values. That's why we are using the float here. And if the user this loop also will continues until the user enter a valid integer. So if the user entered a valid integer for the number 1 and not a valid integer for the number 2, so this try will be failed, and it will comes to an exception, and it will come to this except value error section, and it will print a message like the program is expecting 2 numerical values. And if the user entered a float value or the integer value or something like that, it will accept those values, and it will break from this while loop. And in the next we are coming to if elif loop, like if elif, not a loop, if elif. So if the user input equal to 1, which means that the user is expecting the addition operation, and we are calling the function add, and we are passing the parameters number 1, number 2. And when we call this function, it will directly goes to here, and it will perform the operation sum, and it will return the sum. Okay, and after that the final output will be because you already gave an instruction that the output need to be in 2 decimal points, so I'm using a method called round method here. And finally, we are printing the result in the desired format. Like you already provided a format, so I'm printing the result in that format. Just like the addition, we also need to be if the user input is equal to 2, it will perform the subtraction. If it is 3, it will perform the multiplication. 4, it will perform the division. All these operations are similar. That's why I'm not explaining each of this step, because the video need to be less than 10 minutes. So we can run this program. Okay, please select an operation: 1 addition, 2 subtraction, multiplication, division. Consider that I am entering a value not in this specific range. For example, I'm entering a value called 5. It will give a message like that: please select only in the specified range of choice. And if you are assuming that if you are entering not an integer value, for example, if you are entering a string value or something like that, it will give a message that it's an invalid input. So we need to enter the choice. Like, so I'm entering a choice like I am need to perform the multiplication, so I am choose 3, and enter your first number. I choose 5.36 or fi, something like that, and enter the second number. In this case, I am entered not an integer value, I am entered a string value. It will give a message that the program is expecting 2 numerical values. So I am performing multiplication again, 3, and I'm entering values 2.365, and second, yeah, I already the first value here, so it will perform the multiplication 3 into 2.3658, and the result is 7.1. So I will run the program once more, and I will show the division also. 4, I choose the first number 3.653, and the second number 1.3587. Yeah, we know that the answer should have some more decimal points, but due to this round method here, it will round the result to 2 decimal points. So that's it for the program. Thank you so much, for Professor.